Yeah, welcome to Drinkin, bros, kids. Got a banger of an episode today, D'Anthony. I feel good today. I feel spry. How about you?
I don't know what that word means.
Spry?
I think spry is actually used to define an old person who doesn't feel old. So
Not at all.
Probably appropriate.
No, not at all. Spry is, it's just, look, I don't mean to pull up the Oxford.
I will. Spry, the definition is especially of an old person, active, lively.
There we go.
Sure.
So that was one of those things where, it happened on accident, but turned out to be correct.
No,
I think it's
not at all. I think Bob's got a different definition. He's probably looking at something different.
No, I looked it up too, and it's the first one that pops up.
No, mine says a guy who looks young, almost too young for TV. Might even be trafficked. That's what mine says. Might be touched. He's a candidate to be touched, trafficked, or moved via caravan.
We are, in fact, grooming our audience by having someone so hot and young on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
We are all groomers now.
Well, and we paid the price for that for years on YouTube.
Yeah.
And now we're finally reaping the rewards. Yesterday was a banger of an episode, up to 25,000 views on YouTube, which is astounding, D'Anthony.
As it should be.
Yeah, it should be millions. God damn it, it should be millions. But sometimes we say the wrong things and they don't appreciate it. Speaking of which, Jill Biden said some of the wrong things yesterday. Was she in San Antonio? So I caught the text transcript of this, but I didn't see the video. What went down yesterday, Dan? What transpired there?
Well, so let's take a 30,000-foot view. Why would she be here in the first place? Because over the last year and a half, the Biden administration has sent no one to Texas for a very clear reason.
Right.
They don't want any kind of photo ops or any kind of them taking responsibility for the madness that's happening at the border. And because of that, and post-Roe stuff, all the public policy polling centers are showing that there is a dramatic shift amongst Latinos, particularly in border states, from traditionally Democratic voter blocks to not just conservative, but extremely Republican now.
Right.
Like they've had it with this bullshit, basically. So she's down here trying to do the Lord's work. She's trying to fucking clean up the mess a little bit. And to be honest, man, if she was a firefighter, she basically just threw diesel fuel on the fire of the problem that the left has connecting with any of these, minority or marginalized communities. Because once you force them to say what they actually think out loud, then you're like, oh shit, these people are horrible.
Yeah.
And this was no exception.
Bob, can you play that clip? This will actually be the first time that I'm seeing it here right now. So go ahead and play that for the audience. She looks nice.
But we can't get those things on our own. Raul helped build this organization with the understanding that the diversity of this community, as distinct as the Bogotas of the Bronx, as beautiful as the blossoms of Miami, and as unique as the breakfast tacos here in San Antonio.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Is your strength.
Now that's unfortunate. Can you imagine? So I like to do.
I can't believe that's real.
I like to do these thought experiments and imagine what that conversation would have gone like for other races, right?
I'm sorry, guys. I mean,
what are you doing?
Sure.
Yeah, like I like
funny,
I like to imagine that, and I think that's a good exercise, right? Because it takes you out of your own perspective and like, well, what if we were talking about white people? Like you're as creamy as mac and cheese. I don't fucking know what you would say.
Sure. Well, white people, yeah, you're as crisp and white as a saltine cracker.
Yeah, Lauren Manley's in the chat here. She made a good point. She kind of incredulously asked, so that was written, meaning it was on the prompter. Yes. Somebody wrote that and thought it was okay for her to say out loud.
Yeah, correct.
Which is, again, Sun Tzu says when your enemy is fucking up, don't stop them. Just let them keep going. And you got to imagine that this is So the woman that just won here in Texas, right? The Republican Mexican lady
Correct.
that everybody's calling a far right. Like, the rise of, there's actually an article, I think it was in the Atlantic maybe, the rise of the far right Latina or something like that. It's not far right. They're just tired of you fucking with them, dude. Leave them alone.
Not only that, but if you break down traditional Latino culture, they are religious. That is clearly the right's base on that. They also came from oppression, like real oppression. Therefore, when they come here, they look at this place and like, what the fuck is everybody bitching about over here?
Yeah. It's hard to, I would imagine as a first generation American or even a second generation American, it'd be difficult to hear things like something LeBron James said last night that we'll play later. It must be difficult to hear that and then conceptualize how somebody could have come to that belief living in this country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Jill Biden has attempted to clarify her statement.
Has she? Bob, do we have that? Do we have any footage of
We
that?
do, yeah. She came out with some today.
Jill Biden?
Jill Biden, yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Jill Biden came out with some today, and this is to sort of explain.
All right,
Okay.
play
Yeah,
that
can you play
video
that?
real quick.
I'm sorry, guys. I mean, I just cannot do this Mexican shit. Okay. Sorry, are we filming? Hola. Me llamo Doctoro Jill Biden de la Biblioteca. I would like to address the comment I made about the breakfast tacos. What I meant to say was that you Mexicans and your Mexican community are as rich and colorful as the material of a poncho. You are as hardworking and sturdy as a carne asada, stubborn, tenacious as a burro. You are all as round as a sombrero. You're as loud as a mariachi band. Yes, you're as cute and spicy as a chihuahua. Sometimes you are whiter, like a horchata. Is that the rice milk? I tried that here. I love it. The horchata. A little bit of cinnamon in there. You are as hard to pin down as a green card, right? Your hearts are as warm as a flour tortilla, right when you open that tinfoil. Lastly, I would like to tell all of you Mexicans, every Mexican here in San Antonio, all the Mexicans from Guatemala to Colombia, to Portugal, all of you Mexicans, I'd like to let you know, I am not racist. Sí se puede.
Oh, boy. I think we're the first ones with that footage.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
That's a big, I mean, honestly.
It's a big story to break for us.
it's a big story to break, and it's also like a big character move for her to come out and immediately apologize. Like
Yeah. In a setting like Texas, to come out here and make an apology just the day after. It's nice.
Yeah.
And you got to respect her for it. When you see shit, like, that seems more realistic than what we just saw from Joe Biden, which is fucking crazy to me.
Yeah, she actually did issue an apology, I think.
Did she really?
I'm not really interested in that.
Nah.
Because she said what she meant. Like,
Yeah.
they had probably all week to write what she read off the teleprompter. That's not a mistake. You said exactly what you wanted to say. Just be real about that. Just own it, man. Look, I'm a fucking dumb white chick from fucking the Northeast. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
What do I know?
Yeah.
I actually don't know where she's from. Where's Joe Biden from?
She's got to be from up there, right? I would say a Maine. She looks like a Maine gal.
New Jersey.
Massachusetts. Oh, she's a Jersey girl. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Either way.
Springsteen partying together in high school. There's a picture floating around of, they said it's like a 16-year-old Jill Biden with Joe Biden. I can't verify that. We've been tagged in it a bunch of times. I can't verify it. I know nothing about it. So we're not going to show it here, but everybody's like, hey, why don't you show this on the thing? And I'm like, probably can't do that.
Well, they got, let's see, when were they married? Let's look that up because she's 71 and he's 79, right?
Oh, she's 71?
Yeah.
Okay. She looks good for 71. Good for her.
8-year difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe after he dies, Giorgio can slide in there.
And she was married. They were both married before, right? Yeah. Didn't Biden's first wife die in a wreck or something?
Yeah, she died in a wreck, and then I think Jill just got divorced.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, is that the photo right there?
I think this is the photo, but this is from People Magazine. So, I mean, if I had to guess, she looks young here, but if it's in People Magazine.
Oh, it is.
My
In People
guess
Magazine?
is-
All right, we'll pop it up. I don't want to have any disinformation, so if that's legit, it's legit.
Well,
this is the one that
Well,
everybody's
it's not
been
legit that she's
sending
16,
in.
I don't think.
That's what I'm
No,
saying.
it's
But,
tw-
but
I
if
think
this is a
it's-
real photo and she was not 16 years old, at least we can dispel that myth here on the show.
No, so his brother Frank, the one that died, I think last year, right? Mm-hmm. Frank died. Said her and Joe up on a blind date in '75. She would have been 26 then, not 16.
Gotcha.
So that's probably just some QAnon shit.
So good. At least we were able to dispel that today. But yeah, the press conference, when you're trying to go Mexican like that, it never really works out.
No, do you remember I guess it was the summer of 2020, the Democratic presidential debates, like the primary debates, where every person on the debate panel learned a couple of Spanish phrases, except for Julian Castro, who already knew Spanish because,
Obviously,
he
because
is
he's
Cuban.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was pretty embarrassing.
It was awful to see every white person attempt it. Was it Beto O'Rourke?
He's actually fluent in Spanish.
He is.
he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he grew up in El Paso with a Mexican nanny, so
That's
or
why it's
actually,
called
she may have
Beto.
been
She called him
Guatemalan.
Beto, right?
Yeah, she may have been
She gave him the nickname.
Beto. Yeah,
Well, that's fun.
I assume raised him.
probably.
Really,
yes.
this is like going to Philadelphia and like making some dumb analogy about cheesesteaks, except it really doesn't land when you're telling brown people
Yeah.
that they're like their food.
Yep. That's not great.
The other thing, too, is we've been to San Antonio numerous times. You actually lived there for a spell.
Yeah, it sucked.
It's all Mexican there, correct?
Yeah, I don't think there's.
Is there a need for Latinx or Latinx?
I don't know why Biden and Dr. Jill, are on this tip because if you remember, Joe got in a little trouble. I think it was last year, saying that the Latino community is a lot more diverse than the black community.
Right.
I'm not sure what point he was trying to make. Like, that's not true. So there's, in America, there are black people that came from the Caribbean that were, there's some that are native that are mixed, right? That came through the sugar trade and stuff like that. Some that actually came from Africa. It's like pretty diverse group of people. I think the point he was trying to make is that there's a lot more types of Latinos that we recognize on a regular basis, but that, like, just shut up, dude.
Yeah.
There's no fucking, you're not winning anybody over by doing that. You know what, you know how you win people over is by saying things or listing the principles that you believe in that they also believe in. That's how you do it. You don't have to fucking say it in a Spanish accent. It's kind of offensive to do that, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to get everybody educación. Like, no, just say the fucking word in the language that you know.
Yeah.
And they'll figure it out. You don't have to do that. It's you know what it reminds me of growing up is old white Southern men in Mexican restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah. Gracias.
Yeah. Like, it's just not necessary. They know what thank you means, dude. Just say the words in your own language. You don't have to do that to connect with people.
De nada.
I feel like that when people do that it comes from a place of like deep-seated insecurity. Mm-hmm. Like I don't want them to think I'm racist. Nobody thought that until you said that stupid shit you just said, dummy. Until you compared them to tacos. The fuck is this shit? Like, the only thing that could make this better is if Jill Biden came out and said that she's not really Jill Biden, she's Mitch Connors. South Park fans will get that joke.
All right.
It's from where Cartman's hand turns into Jennifer Lopez.
Okay.
But he's actually a grifter named Mitch Connors.
Sure.
This is the dumbest shit I've seen in a long time.
I gave up on South Park after like season 2. And not that it's not great. I'm just not a big anime guy. You know, not a big animation fan. Turns out LeBron James isn't a big America fan, by the way. He puts out a podcast called The Shop about once every 18 months. That's all he's good for. It's usually a 22-minute episode, somewhere in there. He's got the most famous people on the planet, obviously. And the new one, the trailer just dropped. Bob, I don't know if you have that, but the trailer just dropped for the new one. It's called The Shop. It was on HBO, I think they moved it to YouTube now. simply because of lack of content. Now, that's happening a lot. They're signing all these huge famous people to deals, podcasts, and otherwise, and then they can't deliver on the content, and then their deals get cut.
Yeah.
Obama's, they were in that mix with Spotify. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were in that mix. None of them was Spotify, but also Netflix. And they keep getting cut. I'm assuming that's why he moved over to YouTube, was that he just only feels like doing it once a year. And play the clip. So there's a trailer for the new show, and he addresses the Brittany Griner situation. Go ahead, Bob.
White people, they're collecting black art. Have you had to explain that ever to collectors?
It's not the responsibility of black folks to use their work as a teaching tool.
Brittany Griner, she is in Russia. She's been there
over 110 days. Now, how can she feel like America has her back? I would be feeling like, do I even want to go back to America?
I'm not saying you're going to be twice as good.
Okay, you can stop there.
I always didn't like that saying. So I said, I just want to be twice.
I would be saying, do I want to go back to America? Well, the answer, LeBron, would be yes. And if you saw the scared look in her eyes leaving the courtroom, one would say she would probably wish she was back in America. She's also the one that kneeled and did all the fuck America shit in the first place. I'm surprised he said that. I mean, it's pretty easy with $1 billion to say, hey, why don't you stay over there? But she doesn't have that kind of money just to pick up and move it to another country.
Yeah, quite a few people have made that point about LeBron James specifically. Jason Whitlock has made that point quite a few times. That, like, we can talk about these social issues and shit like that, but when you compare us to other places, like you want to tear down the entire system that allowed you to become a billionaire.
Right.
That doesn't make a lot of sense. And for Griner's perspective, you get out of this country what you put into it, and if you put in vitriol and bile, and your efforts are focused not on improving communities, but on sitting around bitching and complaining about it all the time, you get what you pay for there.
Yeah.
And to be honest, she did it to a country that, because of her talent, right, and in a capitalist society, allowed her to get educated for free and become rich.
Yeah.
Don't have a whole lot of sympathy for that. You know what I mean? To be honest, it's like if you want to. That's why I do the Citizen Show now. That's why I changed it, because everybody just wants to bitch all the time, and all you've done by bitching about it is add to the misery. You haven't done anything to solve a problem. So you, from your position of privilege and authority now, as a wealthy person, as a famous person, have done nothing to contribute to this. You know what I mean? All you've done is pile on. It's pathetic, to be honest.
Yeah, and when you are a billionaire, because I've seen his vacation photos over in Greece and Italy and all that shit, yes, you can pick up and move and do all the fun things around the world that you want to at all times if you want to. But LeBron still comes back to America.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's got to play, right?
Yeah, he's got to play. He's got to make that money. If he wasn't making the money, he wouldn't be fucking playing.
And it's not even funny. The truly pathetic thing about this is the fact that LeBron James doesn't have the fucking balls to call out China with its 1,400 concentration camps filled with Uyghur Muslims who they experiment on and murder because they're bored, I guess. And all the other problems that China has. He won't say a goddamn word about that, right? And doesn't realize or recognize, rather, the irony of him being able to say literally whatever he wants here and maintain his status as a free individual that can say what he wants with all of his money. Because try that shit in China and see what happens. Yeah. Like the head of the largest company on earth, Alibaba, talked a little shit and fucking disappeared for a while. Showed back up, not talking shit anymore. Right?
I haven't seen him. Have you seen him?
I think he's been in public, yeah.
It's Jack Ma, right? That's who we're talking about? Yeah, I haven't seen him in public in a while, and it was lengthy. What would you say, 6-8 months?
Well, what you're seeing now is Jack Ma's face on a monkey.
Yeah, probably. Right.
That they've sewn on, and they're like, no, he's still alive.
That sounds crazy, but there was, so in China, there was a doctor who was sewing human faces onto monkeys, and the Chinese government arrested and killed him for it. Yeah. That's a real story. That really happened. It's not that, it's not that crazy. And it's, look, I understand LeBron James grew up in a pretty shitty situation, right? Like his mom is not probably the best of all time. Grew up pretty impoverished, but he knew from a pretty early age he was going to work his way out of it because of his talent. But either way, he came from a rough place, and you carry that with you, I think, for the rest of your life. People that were poor at some point behave differently for their entire lives, in my experience. But, right, you have to have the wherewithal to realize that you were able to come out of that place and succeed. So you should be trying to tell other people how to do it, not spending all your time telling them how rigged the system is against them. Like, what kind of a piece of shit does that?
Yeah.
Like, I succeeded, but you probably don't have a chance. Right? That's the fucking message that these guys give, and it's pathetic, honestly.
Here's how rich LeBron James is. He scrubbed his real father off the entire internet. He does not exist anymore. He does not exist anymore. Apparently, he showed back up, I guess, when LeBron started really making money, and the real father showed up, and he was like, "Oh no, that's not my real dad." This guy looks identical to LeBron, except for he looked 80, and the LeBron, obviously still looks 60. So the ages matched up and everything else, and then all of a sudden he vanished.
I mean,
I don't know if LeBron had him Jack Ma.
I just Googled LeBron James' dad, and it all came up immediately.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Look at that. That's him on the right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at how identical it is. Punch in if you can on that. So you've never heard or seen this guy again, right?
You never hear like ESPN or anyone talking about him, but yeah, I mean, I just Googled LeBron James' dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine if somebody in sports media did a piece on it, they would never get another interview with LeBron
Ever
James,
again.
probably.
And that's my point, Bob. Like, no one has ever done a story on this guy of arguably the most famous athlete of the last, 10 years, I'd say? Nobody knows anything about LeBron James's real dad. Like, it's fucking weird. Even Meghan Markle's estranged, weird dad keeps popping up in the tabloids. You never see this guy pop up. One would guess he's not a rich man, and he could certainly cash in off LeBron James' son if he wanted to, but he doesn't. And if memory serves me correct, I believe to TMZ, initially he denied that was his father. And everybody was like, no, he definitely looks identical to you. I mean, it just looks like LeBron James with an afro, which is pretty fucking crazy. But, yeah, if you're a billionaire, you can erase people, and that's fun. It's a fun thing, and good for him. But telling Brittany Griner to do shit like that before she's even had a chance to speak, because the other part of this, too, is like we said, what if she's guilty?
I don't think he was telling her necessarily how to feel. I think he's, like, as is the case in most of these situations, it's probably coming from a good place originally. Like, he's trying to empathize with how she might feel in that situation. I get it, right? So, I haven't seen the full interview, so I don't know if he brings it back around to say, like, Russia murders gay people, right?
Yeah.
So she probably does want to come back here, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that might be in the follow-up. I don't know for sure. But, this is a problem of leadership. There's a lot of motivated people out there, quite a few motivated people that understand what it feels like to exist in unfortunate situations like poverty or under the weight of injustice and things like that. And the fact that all that energy is getting directed towards trying to tear down institutions and whine about the problem and validate people's victim status is a lack of leadership. And, to be honest, he can't escape that because he should be a leader. He should be telling people, I can do it, so can you.
Yeah.
That's what he should be saying, right? Not, I understand why you're quitting.
Well, the weird thing is he does do that sometimes, opening up schools and other shit like that. And then there's another side that's just like, well, fuck America. And it's crazy. But what
I mean, and let's be really clear about that part too, because somebody saying that there are problems isn't saying fuck America. Like a firefighter trying to put out a house fire doesn't mean that they're anti-house. You know what I mean? It means that they want to preserve the house or make it better. And that's the motivation there is good. It is the direction of the energy, right, that really matters there. And if it's spent bitching about everything and hand-wringing about how we can never escape this stuff, then that turns to nihilism. And nihilism is the cause, we talked about this a bunch, nihilism is the cause of the mass shooting bullshit. It's the cause of the gang violence. It's the cause of all this shit because people feel disillusioned and separate from society and like they have no ownership over their own country. And that's where it leads to violence one way or another.
As soon as you said anti-house. I pictured the T-shirt already.
Yeah.
Of a firefighter putting it out, but like a childlike one, like an 80s one where it's putting out a fire and it says anti-house on there.
What I'm saying is that before, like I know most of you are patriotic people or people that we would define as patriotic, and you feel some need to defend the country from those sorts of comments, and that's understandable. You should, but you should defend it the right way with, a realistic approach. That is to say, yeah, we fucked up a bunch, but let's go back to these first principles, right? And figure out where the greatest common factor is. How much of this stuff do we agree on about liberty? And then what does liberty mean to you? And then empower people to be leaders in their communities instead of just trying to tear them down. Somebody, in every conflict, somebody has to, at some point, say, all right, I'm done yelling. Let's solve this. And I'm not seeing it from people on either side of this shit. Right. Since all this started, I haven't seen any of that.
I don't know that you will. Will you? It'll be interesting to see her first interview when she gets out of Russia, what really went down. Because I think she was pretty genuine in saying, hey, I accidentally took this into the country, and it was my cartridges and shit like that. Especially with that amount. If you're trying to set somebody up, you go with a bigger amount than 0.7 grams.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious to see if she sat down and she was like, man, sure did miss America. But who knows? We'll find out.
I mean, the other part of that is there going to be will there be any room for her to make that comment without being criticized by people? Like if she says, I would have liked to have not spent that amount of time there. I wish the government would have done something sooner or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it is nice to be back here. If she says something like that, does she get penalized for it? For not holding the line of woke bullshit, right? Because I think that's something
that's interesting.
I think that's something that people in her demo, and I don't mean women or lesbians or black people or liberals or any of that shit. I just mean anybody that might have some beef these days with how government functions. There's a price to pay when you talk nice about things that everybody else hates in those small communities. And I wonder if there's some price for her to pay. Because, look, it's that group of people is like Megan Rapinoe and dummies like that, right? Who have they don't know shit about fucking history. They don't know anything about first principles or what it means to be free. You know what I mean? And what the price is for that shit. They just like, oh, fucking, this sucks.
Yeah.
All the time. They never solve anything, but you get a Presidential Medal of Freedom for that.
Yeah, speaking of which, she got to shake hands with Hunter Biden there. He was in the first row of all of that. We did a show yesterday about the 4chan leak for all of Hunter Biden's shit. We didn't even get to, like, the good stuff. Bob, you left out the one with the sandwich. The picture with the sandwich was my favorite, where he's got the prostitute on the bed and then he's having a sandwich right in the camera. That was one of my favorites. That was one of my faves right there. I don't know why he put a bag over her head and he's eating a fucking sandwich, but and she's obviously got handcuffs behind her. Not really.
Is it a piece of bread in front of her?
That is some sort of tart, a snack, a treat, if you will.
Or is it a
chocolat?
Is it pretzel bread from Sheetz? You should know about that.
No, that's not the wrong side of the state.
Okay.
He's on the east side.
No, Sheetz is on the west.
Sheetz is
Sheetz, Pittsburgh,
Jersey.
No,
well, Sheetz is all the way down in North Carolina now.
Yeah,
but it's the wrong side of the state. It's Pittsburgh.
See,
Gotcha.
what I think's happening here is essentially it's like that episode of South Park where Randy has to jerk off and Randy loses the internet and he tells people what he jerks off to and it's only the most insane shit. Like he can't just get off to two people fucking anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Like this is what he is. Like he's like, you got to put an onion bag on your head while I eat a sandwich and an untouched piece of pretzel bread just sits in front of you and I'm just yelling at the phone. Like it just needs every possible scenario to get off.
That's his version of Asian fart porn. Then.
Yes.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
at one point, man, I tossed and turned over this one last night. I really did. At one point, I thought to myself, all right, yes, having sex with prostitutes probably gets tiring. And you're going to, at some point in the afternoon, need a sandwich to kind of recharge the old batteries, relax, and get ready for a round two. The other part of me thought, I mean, that's such a massive flex to have a sandwich, just eating a sandwich right in front of the prostitute with her arms tied behind her back, where it's just like, hey, I'm tired and I'm going to eat. You didn't keep up your end of the bargain here today. And maybe she was lacking in certain departments that he wasn't excited about.
Or maybe he's trying to protect her identity.
You think so?
Yeah, you never know.
What's the treat for? Like, if shit goes well tonight, you're going to get this little treat.
I'm not sure that you can offer a crackhead a pastry and that's just going to be the end of it, right? to coax some kind of behavior.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll work.
I don't either. But to his credit, it is a very nice pastry. That's not something you get down at Wawa, since we're keeping that theme going there.
Now, Wawa, you'll get, I mean, he could have got that hoagie from Wawa.
That looks like a nice
possible.
hoagie. That looks like a pub sub. Looks like a public sandwich. That's a nice sandwich.
Yeah, do we know where all this stuff took place? Did somebody, my understanding is there was a dump of all the files, but was it on like Reddit or something? Or was there
Reddit, yeah.
Was there a Dropbox?
4chan, I'm sorry, 4chan.
So I don't know how 4chan's server manipulates files when you post them, but is the metadata still, like the geolocation data and everything, still attached to those pictures? Can we look into that?
Giorgio, do you know? Do you have the answer to that?
If you just open them in Photoshop, you can look at the metadata pretty easily. If you save it on your computer and then look at it in Photoshop, you can look at the metadata. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Actually, you can do it on your phone, too. If you save it on your phone. You can
No
look at the
shit.
metadata. Yeah, that little circle with an eye inside of it, you click on that, and it'll tell you all the information about that photo, where it was taken, when, all that stuff.
Fuck, dude. At least I'm not dark enough to do that shit anyway.
There's
So I
quite
have no
a
idea.
bit of metadata saved in photos. It's to make everything easier. Like if your photos know where it was taken, at what time it was for you to search for them. On the iPhones, you'll see this thing called Faces, where it'll bring up all the pictures of the same person.
Yeah, that I've
in your
seen.
photo app.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's all based off of that thing called metadata.
But you're not answering my question. Is there metadata in these photos?
These aren't photos; it's video.
But
there is metadata in it. It's nothing like a photo, though. Like it's not.
No, I know
GPS
how
data.
that works. Yeah, I'm just curious. So there were some that were photos, though, right? They're not.
Yeah, there was
all
a bunch of
videos.
pictures. Yeah, there was a bunch of pictures. So that one was a picture, and then there was a ton of videos that we didn't get to show yesterday. So like that, there was a full video in the fucking elevator.
So was this a photo that we got directly from the leak, or was this a screen capture that was then sent to us?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I mean, he probably isn't editing out his own fucking dick based on who he is.
Right.
So this is someone touched this up.
Yeah, they had to.
And then it looks like this is that girl's photo. So the metadata from the iPhone in which like who it's
Yep.
associated to is going to be from her. And then she probably sent that to him. There's probably some encryption that Apple does back and forth, like what data gets transferred when you send a photo and how you send that photo.
Right.
And then, yeah, so I mean, it honestly just opens up a huge can of worms. Someone who knows what they're doing and whoever got a hold of that could find a lot of information from that. But I don't know what's getting to us at this point. It's hard to do a detective work on it.
Well, you know the government's not going to do anything. What I find interesting is we did the show yesterday. Hunter Biden wasn't even trending until late last night, and then it disappeared this morning. We had a post of a video of Hunter Biden on Twitter, which, look, on Twitter you can get away with fucking murder, porn, whatever you want, right? We got flagged. Bob, do you have that picture that I sent you from Twitter? So we got a fucking 12-hour timeout. And, yeah, put that up on the screen. There you go. And it's, what does it say for sensitive content?
Your account has been locked. You've violated the Twitter rules. Doesn't really say. It
Yeah.
just says you violated Twitter rules, so you'll need to wait some time before using Twitter again.
No idea what that means. None.
Yeah, you'd have to. Well, even
I did.
then-
I clipped I clicked it, the hyperlink, and it said sensitive material, blah blah. Usual shit. It's super vague. You don't know why, but I can tell you what we fucking posted. It was the goddamn Hunter Biden trailer for all this shit, and it was fun. It was a fun trailer that somebody else cut. It's still on there, but we're just not allowed to post anything. But you can go to Pornstar's site and see them sucking dick like all down the feed. So it doesn't really make sense. It feels like this entire thing is being covered up. The only article I read on it was MSN did an article on it, but that's it. Like it's vanished. Like even Fox News isn't covering this, which is shocking. One would think they would have went real hard, especially after January 6th.
Yeah, you would think so.
But they didn't. Nobody said a fucking word about this.
Well, we'll see, right? I mean, when Republicans are back in charge, they're going to do the grandstanding as well. So some of this stuff will come back up then. But it'll be irrelevant. Like Tucker did a piece on this last night.
On Hunter?
Yeah, totally spot on. Like the story isn't how big of a crackhead this dude is. It's the dealings he had with Russian and Chinese companies. The fact that the 5 million barrels of oil that we sold to foreign countries, one of them was about 1 million barrels to a Chinese state-owned organization that Hunter Biden has financial ties to.
Right.
That's a story. I don't give a shit if this dude's smoking crack.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, but like that,
it's really funny.
I think we should do a little bit more analysis on, like, yeah, that's part of the story is that he's a crackhead. Fine, I'm good with that. The other part of the story is all the weird interactions and coincidences that pop up between him and China and Russia and his father, who's the president of the goddamn United States. Mm-hmm. I'd like to know more about that.
There was one photo in particular from that dump, and it was him and like this older man in a car. And they were saying that it was somebody he had worked with over in Russia for some oil deal. I have no idea because I didn't know who it was. But if you pull it up, Bob, while I do the sponsors, you can take a peek, seize at it. Because in that, I would pull up the Twitter account. It's in there, but it's locked. We can't open it for another 10 hours. So that's fun. But in the meantime, I'll read some sponsors while you look for that. It is a video of Hunter in the car with an older Russian gentleman, it appears. Are you going through that trailer right now? The guy's name was Machiavelli Memes, who cut that trailer. It was fucking dope, dude. The guy knocked it out of the park. He scored it to 10 Crack Commandments by Biggie.
It's still on YouTube if you want to go find it.
Is it really?
Yeah. I don't think I've seen it as of this morning. I saw it.
No shit. Still. Well, it's on our Twitter right there, but I guess you could look at it outside of it. But anyways, we got some sponsors that pay for this shit wagon to be on the air. First and foremost, ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. 30% off everything in the entire store. That is including the mattresses, sheets, pillows, adjustable bases. You name it, 30% off. The weighted blankets, all of it. What I highly recommend is just ripping off the sheets and sleeping right on the cooling mattress. It is 1,000 degrees everywhere in America today. They've got a cooling mattress that is phenomenal. They got cooling pillows that are phenomenal. It is a patented cooling technology that is inside this mattress and pillows. I've never seen anything like it. I love the goddamn thing, and let's face it, it's not getting any cooler out there. So you might as well get a mattress from ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros today. If you want that adjustable base with it, highly recommend it. Both D'Anthony and I have it, and we love it. That's 40% off when you get the mattress and the adjustable base combined together into one. And you can have all the fun on that goddamn thing for 40% off. Now, when you scroll to the bottom of the page there, you're going to see a 60-month pay-as-you-go program, no interest if you have decent credits. And all the deals that I just mentioned are applicable with that. You can walk out of there with a brand new bedroom set for about $25, $30 a month at ghostbed.com/Drinkin Bros. Next up, we've got BetterHelp. Hunter needs this.
Yeah.
BetterHelp.com/Drinkin Bros. This podcast today is brought to you by BetterHelp, you know? Because a lot of people are out there and they're struggling. They're struggling to talk to somebody. Some people just haven't gotten over the COVID shit, by the way. I'm reading more and more articles about that and kind of integrating back into society. I even saw it on a message board where a guy in North Carolina was just looking for friends. He was like, hey, I just moved to North Carolina. I don't know anybody here.
Yeah.
I would love to have some friends. And it's just like, holy shit, man. It was a really cool post, but I felt sad for the guy. I was like, all right, shit, man. If I was there, I'd go play some handball with him or something. But, yeah, life is full of curveballs, twists and turns. It's important to show up for yourself. Through it all, BetterHelp Online Therapy will assess your needs and can match you with your own licensed professional therapist in less than 48 hours. We've all been there. I've been there. You've been there. We've eventually had to talk to somebody. The times that I never had something like this.
Yeah.
Usually you had to make an appointment, go see a doctor, wait. That's not good enough anymore. Because usually when you're struggling and going through things, you want to talk to somebody immediately. Now, here is where you can do that. It's not a crisis line. It's not a self-help line. Just a professional therapy done securely online, available to people worldwide. Just log into your account anytime, send a message to your therapist. You can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, so you don't have to be on camera if you don't want to. If you're worried about getting Hunter Biden'd, you don't have to be on camera, and you can get therapy every week as easy as a few clicks on your laptop or phone with the therapy. It can take a few tries, but you'll get it. They'll find you the right fit. BetterHelp makes it easy and free to change therapists if needed, and it's more affordable than traditional offline therapy, and financial aid is available there. BetterHelp is a great way to invest in yourself. Visit their website and read their testimonials that are posted daily. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they're recruiting additional therapists in all 50 states. And they have a special offer for our listeners, D'Anthony. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/drinkinbros. That is 10% off your first month of online therapy at betterhelp.com/drinkinbros. Go to betterhelp.com/drinkinbros today. Last but not least, hardafseltzer.com. I got them laid out in front of me here, kids. We got some new flavors coming out in a couple months. Get the OG flavors while you can. If you're in the state of Tennessee, we are live in about 30 to 40 stores down there. Every day, I feel like we're adding 5 or 6. If you're a bar or a restaurant owner in Tennessee and you want it in there, contact Best Brands or just tell your fucking bar owner or manager, hey, dude, I want Hard AF Seltzer in there. I want it at Kid Rock's bar, by the way.
Yeah.
I think that would be fucking rad.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
That was a goddamn party that
Yeah.
night. Jesus
They know how to,
Christ.
they definitely know how to throw down there.
That place is, bomb. That's old school shit. That's like Panama City shit, dude. It's great. So if you're out there in Tennessee, look, we're available everywhere. Nashville, Hendersonville, Hot Springs, in Murfreesboro, Smyrna. We're down in Chattanooga, Jack's Bar. Go to Jack's. Tell them you want some Hard AF Seltzer. You're good to go. For the rest of us, in 41 states, we ship right to your house. 8%, no carbs, no sugars, no gluten if you give a shit about that. And we only ship by the case, so you can bring the party to the whole goddamn neighborhood. It really, really helps when you order it online because we use all that money to go into state by state. And we'll be coming to more states soon to drop the price for you guys. It's normal price in Tennessee because it's in stores. Hopefully we'll be across the nation in the next few years. Go to hardafseltzer.com today. D'Anthony, it's a weird Tuesday today, I feel like.
Taco Tuesday.
It is. It is Taco Tuesday. And now I feel weird after Joe Biden's comments,
Well, you just don't compare human beings to food. It's just pretty easy to not do that.
Is it food in general or just their own culture?
That's probably
like the food for their own culture.
Yeah, I wouldn't compare anybody to any food necessarily, but certainly not with their own culture because then you're getting a little stereotypical, right?
Yeah, you're fucked at that point. You're absolutely fucked. And to be fair, Dan, would you really care if I compared you to clam chowder? Would you really care?
I'm not from the Northeast, so it doesn't really apply.
Okay.
I'm Southern.
Grits?
Yeah.
Would it be grits for you?
Something like that, yeah.
All right. But is that white enough? Is grits white enough for you?
I don't know. Grits is actually a pretty interesting conversation because some people like them with sugar.
Yeah.
And I grew up eating it with like butter and salt.
Butter, yeah. Butter.
Right? Like Waffle House style.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you roll up to a Waffle House and you put sugar on your grits, somebody's going to have something to say about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a big fan of grits. Do you get down on grits?
It's fine. It's just ground up hominy.
It doesn't have enough kick for it.
There's no taste at all to it.
At all.
Right? So I guess it depends on what you put it on or what you scoop it with.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people use their toast to scoop it up, but then what's the point of that? Because you just there's no nutritional value to fucking grits.
No, dude.
It's like ground up old corn.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly what it is.
I don't know.
You have that picture, Bob? There's the guy. There he is. So who is this? Everybody keeps pointing to this guy, and it's somebody allegedly in the Russian government that was working with Biden. What does it say there?
It says Soros.
Oh, is that George Soros?
Zoom in. That doesn't look like George Soros.
I can't really zoom in on the Twitter photo.
Yeah, the description says Soros, though.
No shit. I didn't know he was still alive. 1, 2. Is that what he looks like? And how long ago was that?
Well, the other thing is George Soros driving? Like,
That's a great question.
George Soros is 93 years old.
Right.
Yeah, but this looks like a younger photo. So maybe he was a spry 83 years old.
Let's compare and contrast. Get a photo of George Soros.
Yeah, dude. Was that sort? It kind of looks like him.
As far as I've paid attention, George Soros has had gray hair, white hair.
Yeah.
So as long as I've been paying attention to him, which is about 10 or 15 years now. So I don't think that's George Soros.
Right.
Unless he had just come from the fucking dye job.
Yeah, he could be like Coach K.
Yeah, it could be Coach K in it, you know? Coach K is the only one to pull that off into his 70s, by the way. I never knew. I never really thought about it. It depends on how young your face looks.
Rudy Giuliani pulled it off until...
Oh, God. No, he did not.
Until, he didn't.
If you're in the chat and know who this guy is, everybody keeps making a big deal about this photo that was leaked on 4chan. Tell us who it is.
It doesn't look like Soros to me, but who knows, man? Angles, right?
Yeah. It could be. If you're in the chat, let us know, and we'll be happy to oblige. D'Anthony, your beloved Webb telescope, sending back some amazing images. Jesus Christ, dude!
Yep.
Did you see these things?
Yeah, sure did.
It's absolutely incredible. I don't know if you have those, Bob. Yeah, pull those up.
You can just go to NASA's Instagram, but yeah, there's...
Do I want to kill your boner about these?
Oh, shit, are you? Go to the colored one first.
Whoa,
sorry about that. The one in
Colorized?
colors. Yeah, the colorized.
So the ones that you see that look like they have spikes on them, right? Mm-hmm. Like it looks like a star you would put on top of your Christmas tree. Those are stars inside of our own galaxy that we're looking past.
Put it up, huh?
So those are stars. Anyone that you see that's a rounded or blurred looking image is an individual galaxy, including the little dots in the background. So
Holy shit.
The interesting thing about this picture, there's another picture too that captured a nebulonic cloud that's really pretty. But the interesting thing about this picture is that if you held a single grain of sand up to the sky, that's how big that picture is.
Really?
And there's about 10,000 galaxies, I believe, in that image.
So, dumb question: is there other worlds and Earths in those?
Yeah. So that's one of the other discoveries that we've gotten to from James Webb already. And look, we're a couple of days into photo releases and stuff, and only a couple of months in to taking the pictures in the first place. But I believe something like 20 or so planets with water on their surface have already been found.
Holy shit!
Yeah, which means life is abundant.
Yeah.
In the universe.
You think it's dumber or smarter than here?
It depends on the age, probably, right? Like this is the farthest back in time we've ever looked. Delco, go ahead and ruin it for everybody.
Go ahead.
What you got to say?
There you go.
Where is this?
What?
It's on the screen.
I was disappointed when I learned the mind-blowing images from Hubble James Webb. Why isn't Hubble a different telescope?
Hubble/James Webb, so both of them. Okay. Images from both. They're kind of BS. NASA adds colors to show invisible gases to the naked eye. Even if you were to travel countless light years to see the nebula yourself, it would only look like a faint smudge.
Yeah, that's correct.
So they touch it up.
They're not. No, they don't. That is not true. This is not an edited photo. What they're doing is showing a visual representation of non-visible light spectrum. Right. So, spectroscopy is a means of light as a wave. Right. Mm-hmm. Can you pull up a light wave on screen so I can show everybody what it looks like?
Nobody would be able to capture colors, correct?
Pull up the visible spectrum, or no, I'm sorry, pull up the entire light spectrum as a wave, and I'll explain it. But
you would never be able to do it, right?
Well, your eyeballs wouldn't be able to see it because your eyeballs can only see what we call the visible spectrum.
Mm-hmm. Are you trying to explain light and color to Ross right now?
Yeah. So,
all right,
throw this up on the screen.
Yeah, I actually understand light and color.
Right. So you see on the I guess on the left side here, we're talking about radio waves, which are long, right? They go like this. And then as it gets to infrared, it shortens. And then visible light is a little bit shorter. Ultraviolet, X-ray, and gamma rays get extremely short.
Yeah.
So this is how they travel through space. Now, you can use something called spectroscopy, because we know how different elements travel, right? We know what the light waves from like argon and how it differs from the light wave from hydrogen or helium, right? And it'll show up as represented as on a color on a spectrum. So you can put this machine, you can look at the picture, or I'm sorry, you could take a picture with the machine, and it'll, if you look on the output, it'll block out the colors that are visible there, and that's how we know what elements are in like the atmosphere or surface of a planet, for example.
Right.
So we know what that looks like with the total light spectrum, not just the visible light spectrum. And that picture, the pictures that you're seeing from James Webb, is a visualization of that because it has methane. There's an orange tint, for example. So it's not, they didn't Photoshop it, is what I'm saying.
They just added color to it.
No, they didn't add anything.
To the one on the left?
No, it's not adding color. They're just showing you the visual representation of a non-visual light spectrum.
Correct.
Just for human beings, but like
Yeah.
cats have a different visual light spectrum than we do. So certain animals or beings or whatever would see the picture on the left.
Right.
But with our shitty eyeballs, we would see on the right.
Correct. So what they're doing is essentially showing you what it would look like if we could see that.
Yeah.
But humans can't see that.
No, not with our naked eyeballs.
Right.
But with the machines we're using to take pictures, it looks like the picture on the left.
But cats can see that, right?
They just have a different, I use that as an example because they have a different visible spectrum than we do.
No, I believe cats can see anything.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Maybe.
Cats can see pretty much everything we do. But all these photos are amazing. You're always going to get some dickhead on Twitter. It's just like, fuck this. I mean, it's crazy to me. But if there is a million other planets out there with life and everything else.
Trillions of other planets, right?
Okay.
So
if there's trillions, then this is pretty much meaningless, right?
You mean life? Yeah. I mean, you could say that because there's 8 billion people on Earth that one individual life is meaningless, but to that person and the people around them, it's not.
No, obviously. I'm obviously joking, but if we knew that there was, I don't know, let's say 60, 70 other Earths, which there's probably, I would say the possibility is probably pretty high, right?
I would say, modern science would say there's probably about 10,000 just in our galaxy, and there's something like 2 trillion galaxies in the known universe.
Okay.
So I believe the number of expected planets where life could exist is something like a 2 with 32 zeros behind it.
When do you think they'll actually come out and say this?
Oh, science has been saying this for years. There's something called the Drinkin.
But with life form?
Well, we haven't detected any life form yet.
Right.
I don't think. If we have, I don't know.
If we did, would LeBron James wish to live on that planet?
Maybe. He was in Space Jam.
That's right.
And it sucked bad enough that he should probably leave this planet.
I hated Space Jam.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I was not a fan of that Space Jam. No reason for that to be made.
I didn't even watch it.
Oh, really?
I watched a couple of scenes that people posted. I'm like, oh man, this is horrible.
Yeah.
Like it's like, if those are the scenes you posted to get me to watch it, then I know for a fact I should not watch this. You know what I mean? Because the concern with these days with movie trailers is like you just put every cool part in the minute and a half, and then you go watch the movie like, Jesus Christ, dude, I've already seen all this.
Yeah.
But for that one, there were no cool parts.
No, I took my child to see Space Jam, and he enjoyed it. And that's the thing as a parent, is you can't crush your kid's dreams by saying it was dog shit.
You can.
And he was very, very shocked. Maybe a week or two later, we were scrolling through whatever streaming service it was, and he was like, "Wait a minute, that's not LeBron James in Space Jam." And I was like, "No, that's the good one. That's the good one there. Yeah. You know, that's the one with Michael Jordan in it. That I'm a big fan of. Bill Murray. I forgot Bill Murray was in that.
Yeah, he was. I
watched it for a little
I don't
bit.
know what his stats in the game were, but I heard he had a good game. He's a rebound guy, right? So
I think so. He's a rounder guy. Yeah, he's a rebound guy.
I think he was mostly in the high post distributing.
He's a 3 and no D.
Well, yeah, he's not playing defense.
Yeah.
No,
certainly not.
I can see him having like a dad hook shot, like a really good dad hook shot that's just unblockable, and you're like, all right, fuck, I'm not going to beat it. I'm sorry, I'm not going to beat it. I want to get into this Twitter thing here. Musk is out. We have not chatted about that yet. Musk is out of the Twitter bid. His reasoning is that they didn't give him enough information about the spam accounts Do you believe it?
I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't trust Elon Musk any more than I trust Twitter. So who knows?
Yeah.
It's like here's what this is a really interesting thought experiment. If you're ready for this.
Yeah.
Let me find. I've got something.
While you look for it, I'll tell you this. Trump, yesterday said that Musk is a bullshit artist, and he didn't expect any of this to go down.
Right. Well, so he's getting sued now by Twitter.
Correct.
To enforce the terms of the contract, which is interesting
Mm-hmm.
because they want that high payout.
Yeah, because the stock has dropped. It was down 12% yesterday. I don't know what it's at today. I'll check it out while you're reading it.
So if you remember when all this talk first started, it was a couple of weeks after he started talking about buying Twitter. Tesla shares were on the slide because they just had 130,000 cars recalled. They had production output problems, bad press because they have to go through China to get all their fucking parts and equipment shit, and Musk has been extremely friendly with the Chinese Communist Party. So Tesla stock was kind of on the slide, and he ginned up this whole fucking movement where I'm going to buy Twitter and change things. But to do that, I've got to sell 9.6 million shares of my Tesla stock. Now, if the CEO of the company sold 10 million shares of the stock in their company, that stock is going to tank very fast because it's a sign of no confidence. Instead, he aligned that sell-off with a new noble cause that conservatives could rally around, right? And in the process, sold those shares at 878.48 to fund the Twitter purchase for a total of $8.43 billion. Now, if he had sold those shares yesterday, for example, he would have only made $7 billion.
Okay.
So he saved himself about $1.5 billion by doing that, and all the while became a folk hero for the right. And there's no clarity on whether he actually had any intention to buy the company or not.
It's interesting you say that dollar amount because the penalty for that deal not going through was actually $1 billion.
Only if Twitter was on the up and up. So if he can make the case in court that Twitter wouldn't provide him or they can't validate how many actual users there are on the channel, which is some people, like there was some dude on fucking CNBC or on Jim Cramer's show the other day, actually. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was on Jim Cramer's show and he was talking about, I was like, oh.
Mad Money.
Yeah, he the guy, I don't remember his name, but he made the point that that's not material to the stock price. Like, yeah, it is. Twitter, how many actual human being users are using the product is definitely material to the stock price of Twitter.
Yep.
So, that's fine, but there's no way to really tell if he was given enough or if there even is enough. So if Elon Musk's position is that it can't be quantified, if Twitter is incapable of quantifying it or not, then he loses this case. He has to make the point that they intentionally obfuscated the truth.
Yeah, so what Twitter is saying from their perspective is that it is invalid and wrongful. That is their direct quote on Musk, his attempt to bail on the $44 billion acquisition. I mean, you could go back and forth with this unless you do a deep dive into the company itself to find out how many of those accounts are bots. If I had to guess with no dog in this fight, I would say it is way more than 5% bots.
Maybe.
That's my guess.
Yeah. It could be, but the fact remains that Elon Musk has now ingratiated himself to the right and has a bunch of extremely loyal people who are going to defend him. And he's also managed to get away with signing the NDA, so he can't actually talk about any of it publicly.
No shit.
Right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like you can make whatever generalized claim you want or just have your people put out this narrative that Twitter refused to cooperate or that you suspect, that they're obfuscating the truth and never actually say anything publicly and never and always be able to hide behind, well, I'm not allowed to because of the NDA.
Yeah.
It's very what he's done is extremely smart if I'm correct about that.
So,
but also total bullshit artist, as Trump said.
Right, and right after Trump said that, speaking of the right, Elon shot back and said, "It's time for you to ride off into the sunset. We would rather have DeSantis go for president." After that, and somebody asked him to to clarify his statements, and he said, "Look, Trump, if he were to win at 78, he would be 82 on the way out of there." And he said, "No one should be in office at that age." And look, we're seeing it now. Biden is 79 years old. That's too tough of a gig, maybe at that age. But then, our buddy who was on Ruben was on a few weeks ago. We were talking to him about it. I saw one of his posts earlier, right before we went on air today, where he was talking about on his show that he hopes Trump and DeSantis can work it out privately and try to figure it out to where either Trump is the guy that endorses people. He's like the Obama and the Republican Party, and he can go endorse people and do rallies and all that other stuff, and have DeSantis run, or maybe they'll run together. I think it would be a mistake if both of them ran against each other and tore each other to the ground. That's just me personally.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
So we'll see what happens, but people are picking sides right now, and DeSantis is doing the donor route. You and I always talk about this all the time. We're both on the email list for all the Democrats and Republicans just to see what's going on. They're currently testing the waters with DeSantis. I got some emails about some donations for DeSantis for president. So it was not for governor reelection. That is definitely for president in 2024. I'm assuming he's probably got it locked up. I don't even know who's running against him for governor in this year's race. Or is it an off term, Bob? Or is it?
No, it's the woman. I think it's the woman who's the Secretary of Agriculture or some shit like that. I don't remember her name. Hold on, I'll look it up.
Secretary of Agriculture in the state of Florida, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Secretary. Nikki Fried. That's who's, I believe. She's been doing a lot of content and running ads.
Okay.
So I don't know about that, but yeah, we'll see what happens. And it's how disheartening is it that this sign of whether or not someone that you may or may not like, I guess, is going to run for president is how quickly they go start sucking billionaire dick.
Yep.
It's pathetic.
It's day one. And it happens, and then and just as quickly as it happens, they'll spit you out just as quickly as well. I remember when Kamala was doing hers, starting to do the test runs there, fundraising wise, and she didn't get a lot of money, and they were like, "Cool, let's get you the fuck out of here. You're all done."
It just tells me that he doesn't actually believe in anything he says.
Who, DeSantis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like anybody else. I mean, it's sad.
But don't you view it like college football where, now, unless you're backing up the truck with millions of dollars, I don't know if you can play anymore.
So if the consequences or benefits of what you do changes what you do, then you don't actually believe in the principle, right? You fall into this same trap that, well, this is just how it's done. Cool, man. Then you just lost me.
But
right
don't you think there should be a law in place where everybody has a certain amount to spend and you can't go over that, like a salary cap?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be the best. That way people are genuinely running off of their ideas and their policies versus how many billions of dollars you can fundraise and then shove out commercials to middle America during, Thursday night games on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
But the Atlantic this morning, which I'm not a huge fan of the Atlantic. Georgia, I think are you subscribed to them? Yeah, the Atlantic.
I am. They've actually they've done some pretty decent work here over the last 6 months, to be honest.
Yeah. So there was a staff writer here who said DeSantis winning the re-election in Florida isn't a sure thing, and that state is still pretty swingy. Not one fucking prayer.
No, that's retarded. What that guy said.
Yeah, Mark Leibovitz.
Yeah, I think the net gain for Republican registry in Florida is 1.5 million over the last 2 years. So no, not even close, bud.
DeSantis has like a 64% approval rating in Florida.
Yeah. I don't understand this article at all. Well, I saw it. I was like, huh?
I mean, it's one of those things where you try to put something out in the universe to make it true, right? That's propaganda.
Yes, yeah.
That's what it is. Like, look, the fucking media does this shit all the time. Like,
that's why I'm usually pretty suspicious of anyone talking about a civil war is totally going to happen. I'm like, it sounds like you really want to speak it into existence.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, who knows? The media sure wants it. But, I mean, even in this article, they're saying while former Democratic President Barack Obama won the state in 2008 and 2012, it's like, all right.
Look, FDR could come back to life and campaign for whomever's going against DeSantis in Florida, and they would still lose by at least 10 points.
Is he standing up or is he in a wheelchair?
I think he gets the sympathy vote in a wheelchair.
You think so?
It's been working for fucking Abbott here, right?
Sure has, dude. Sure has. I thought there would have been this like huge swing here after all the fucking crazy shit in Texas for Beto, and like that guy's been invisible since he stormed the podium that day for the Uvalde. I haven't seen or heard from that guy ever since. Strangest fucking thing.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing.
I don't know. Him and Hunter Biden must be having the same cell coverage.
I mean,
have you seen him out or heard anything about him in the state?
No, but it's kind of like the downtime.
Yeah.
Like the race doesn't really heat up for a couple more months, so he won the primary. In fact, if Uvalde hadn't happened and Roe hadn't happened, we probably wouldn't have heard from him at all for a couple months.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten a few texts from him, and I assume they're pounding the ground, but it's not really go time yet.
The general stuff will start in mid to late August.
Okay.
That's when you'll start seeing ads and stuff. And I don't know how much money he's raised either. To be frank, I doubt the. I seriously doubt with the news that we talked about earlier coming out of Texas about Latinos shifting heavy towards the right. I don't think the National Democratic Party is going to spend a whole lot of their PAC money here on Beto when he can't win against Ted Cruz like 4 years ago, right?
Right.
Probably not going to happen. So he's going to be on his own a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll try to look up his money. I mean,
it was pretty close against Ted Cruz. Wasn't it 2 points, Bob?
Yeah.
I wasn't living here then, but I remember reading about it.
It was. I don't have a lot of faith in Beto's ability to govern or legislate, but he's a pretty good proven campaigner. I would.
Yeah, he can campaign and raise money for sure.
It would not surprise me if he's raised a good amount of money.
Yeah. Look, he gained enough to run for president, and that takes some bucks. Just to even get on the fucking stage takes dollars. What is it, 2% or 3% of the Gen Pop vote you got to get even to get on the debate stage?
I think it depends on what stage of the campaign you're in, but I think it's you have to have 1% of the vote and have 130 or 150,000 individual donors, something like that.
Okay.
They have weird rules about, and that's the Democratic Party's rules. It's not like there's no law that says that in the Constitution or anything. Like the two parties do whatever they want vis-a-vis selecting a candidate. They can make those rules up as they go. That's why Donna Brazil's not in jail.
Yeah, she's all over CNN.
Yeah,
she does a lot of shit with CNN these days, which is kind of what it is, right?
No, it's really interesting the way that the leftist media tries to reach out to to harness all of this progressive energy, but they are the ones that fucked over progressives in 2 consecutive presidential elections.
Yeah.
Especially Donna Brazil, who was rewarded for doing so by being made the fucking chair of the DNC. You know what I mean? That doesn't send the best message.
Look, man, everyone likes to blast rap music. No one wants to live in Compton.
Yeah, fair enough.
I remember during 2016, it's interesting, man. I think Bernie would have had a better shot. The people liked Bernie that year than Hillary.
I don't think so.
Really?
No. I don't think he's electable.
Look, I agree. I think he's a fucking moron, but whatever, man. The people seem to love that motherfucker. Like, there was a huge, like, yay, Bernie. There was pins and buttons and the whole thing. People were really getting into Bernie.
Look,
it was edgelords.
There's a phrase in on the campaign staff side of politics, and it's that buttons and yard signs don't vote.
Right.
So don't be fooled by that nonsense. As a matter of fact, most people will stick yard signs only in the areas where they know their candidate's going to be driving around, because that person is the only person that gives a fuck about a yard sign.
The worst is the local elections here. God damn it.
Local elections, they actually do help.
They do,
but
for sure.
For statewide or
sure.
higher elections, they don't work.
But you'll see 10 million fucking signs during local elections. Especially in Texas. You
And
got money in Texas.
It's weird shit, too. Like, there was a woman running for something, some local thing last year, and it was like Indian chemist, and then her name. Like,
yeah.
Well, you're running for, like, the Indian chemist job? What the fuck are you talking about? What do those things have to do with anything? Like, what do you believe? Or how do you plan on governing, you idiot?
Although the guy who wants to take down all the Democratic Klansmen, I'm rooting for him, and I will get that jersey.
He's. I mean, I haven't heard anything else he said except for that nonsense.
I haven't either. But The offer still stands. I want you to know that. I said that on the show. I will buy the jersey and wear the jersey for that guy.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, because he played for the Raiders. Now's the point in the show. We get to the Drinkin' Bro of the Week. This was actually sent in by Rob O'Neill today.
Oh, yeah, we got to GoFundMe for this dude.
Yeah, so on his Instagram, if you want to go to his Instagram, it's at Mchooyah, MCHOOYAH. You can just put that on the screen, and I'll read it here. Yep, it's that photo right there with the television in the background. There you go. He says, here's a pic of me and Danny and the boys in St. Patty's Day, South Chicago this year. Danny is the son of CPD detective and ER nurse. As the second of 7 children, he's an Army veteran and third generation CPD as part of the gang unit. His family is veterans, cops, first responders, and firefighters. His life was changed the other day when he was doing what good guys do. After breaking up a fight and stopping further violence, he was shot in the spine while he was walking away. I'm asking for your assistance in telling Danny and his family that help is on the way. There is a GoFundMe link in Rob's bio, and we will also put one in the audio show at the bottom of ours in this episode. If you'd like to donate, shout out to Rob. We love Rob O'Neill, and he's always trying to do the right thing. There it is. Is it up on screen right now?
Yep.
Okay. So it's the Danny Golden Support Fund. It is on GoFundMe. How much have they raised so far?
500,000 of the 1.5 million. And by the way, goddamn, 500,000 on 3,500 donations.
That's amazing.
So yeah, it's pretty good. I saw Barstool actually promoting this earlier.
Yeah.
So this is making the rounds. A lot of people supporting it.
Yeah. Look, it comes from an amazing family and all that stuff. And Rob's, one of our close friends. So do what you can there and help support. And to Rob, thanks for sharing and putting this in there. It's kind of amazing when you have a guy like Rob just put something out in the world and then Barstool and everybody else picks it. I didn't know about the Barstool thing. That's cool. Shout out to Dave Portnoy and those guys for running that. How much? $500,000 in just today?
6 hours.
Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. Yeah, because if you end up paralyzed like that, people don't realize the cost that will incur, not just in the short term, but over your entire lifetime. So that's a great thing. Cheers to Rob O'Neill, and thanks for sharing. Do what you can there. For us, go to iTunes, rate the show a 5-star, and leave a quick review. Also go to Spotify and leave a 5-star review. Video is up on Spotify as well. A bunch of people have been hitting us up, and they're like, hey, do you know you have video on there? Yeah, we do. We sure do. That's up there for every single show. So if you want to watch it on the go, it'll switch over in between your runs, or if you're going out to pick up the kids or whatever it is. The wildest thing was I was watching the video, and it's basically to check on these guys to make sure they're doing their fucking job. But I was watching the video. My wife's like, hey, can you go pick up our 3-year-old from preschool? I was like, yeah, sure. So when I plugged it into the car, it automatically switched to audio, and it recognized I was driving, and I was like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Spotify's on it. Their tech is on it, man. So good for them.
Yeah.
But we enjoy it. It's in 4K, and obviously on YouTube, we're gaining subscribers again. I don't know what happened. If Elon Musk, shit, man, if he wouldn't have lost Twitter, maybe we would have gained followers there, but we immediately got shut back down after that.
Yep.
That was a weird switch, dude, with Twitter. It was a really nice period when he was like, I'm going to buy this shit. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, we got a ton of followers. And then he's like, I'm not going to buy this shit. Congratulations, you're locked out of your account for 12 hours. I was like, all right, great.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
It's like dad's coming home, and you're like, oh, shit, I got to clean up this mess. And you're like, oh, never mind, he'll be back tomorrow. Like, all right, time to burn the house down.
Fuck, man. I wonder if he went in for less money and just said, look, guys, either you give me the fucking bots and I'll give it to you at X, or was the whole thing a fucking troll? We'll never know the answer.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the contract. You can see it. You can look it up because he had to file it with the SEC exactly, including the $1 billion buyout, right? So I maybe I should go look back at that so I can get some more context on what his rights, I guess, in the situation were. Because, you have to be – there has to be some – you have to be allowed to do your due diligence. And if you come away from it not feeling good about it, there's got to be some pathway out of the contract.
Right.
That's how those kind of deals work. So we'll see.
Yeah, and we'll see how. I know Twitter's suing right now. We'll see how hard they push on this issue, because clearly they know what the fucking real numbers are inside there.
Or they know that it can't be substantiated, which means they're coming at a position of power.
Right. Right.
So we'll see.
And I also think they're forced into this for the shareholders who are pissed off, who are like, "Hey, dude, we wanted the money."
Yeah. I mean, whether Twitter wanted to sell or not, they have a fiduciary responsibility if somebody's going to pay 15% over asking price for your stock.
Yeah.
You don't really have a whole lot of options there.
Yeah, and then looking at it, Twitter is down to $34 today.
And he's still on the hook for paying $54 for it?
He was supposed, he had initially offered $54. So, boy, it's bombs away for Twitter right now. Sorry about it. Just kidding, we're not. That's the most fucking biased bullshit of all time. And I hate it. I can't wait to burn it to the ground one day and just read the news under a burner account, which we all fucking do. For D'Anthony Holloway, I'm Ross Patterson. This is Drinkin' Bros Podcast. Good night, everyone.